New Zealand weightlifter will be the first openly trans competitor at the Olympics. I feel like normally when trans athletes come out in the news, it's at a high school level, and there's a thought about, listen, this doesn't affect you. Basically, this is just someone in a high school. They're trying to express themselves. Don't worry about the impact of trans people on sports. You're being silly. And so this was the first time I saw it at the international level. The Olympics is the biggest stage you can possibly get for sports. Yeah. So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. I think, this is not one that well, perhaps because I don't do sports and I can't imagine it. I don't have a lot of concern. What I said to you and said to other people is that if this trend continues, it seems obvious that male to female trans athletes are going to dominate far in disproportion to the size of the population that they make up in female sports. If anybody disagrees with that, I would be really shocked.
Oh yeah, if this were a female to male trans person, I don't think anyone would have an opinion on it, except for that it was really impressive.
Yes. So likely to dominate, win, much higher than one would expect if it were just a random draw, and I don't know. I don't really have a problem with that. And some people are worried because they say, if I have a daughter or, and I want her to be able to look up and say, hey, I could do this. There's a chance that I can do it. And I just go like, man, I grew up and knew I couldn't do it. And I was a boy. If I have a son and he's anything like me, he doesn't stand a chance either.
I thought maybe with hard work I could make it to the NBA. And I was wrong.
People are just saying, like, look, girls aren't going to be able to compete. And I'm going, yeah, neither are boys. Like 99.9% of them. Like, welcome to my life. I couldn't compete. I couldn't hang. Only the most athletic people on the planet will compete. And there will be this other division of people, which is female sports. And I don't think there's going to be, I think there will be some bad actors, but I don't think it's.
I don't think this person transitioned just to be in the Olympics.
No, me neither. There'll be bad actors for sure. There always are, and trans male to females will often win, and that will be the case. And if you look at the champions in the world in sports right now, what you would find is biologically you got 50% men, 50% women. And if you look at it, if this trend continues for another 20 years, what you'll see is.
Well, I don't know. What is the term in terms? I don't actually know the differentiator between sex and gender, male, female versus men, women. What is the woke way to delineate that?
Okay, I can tell you the woke way. This is obviously something that people don't agree about. Sex is
no. I meant what's the term? So you said right now it's 50% men, 50% women, and I was just saying
I said biological. So biological meaning XY chromosome.
Yeah. So are you supposed to say 50% men, 50% women, or 50% male, 50% female?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, perhaps there's a more precise term, but I don't know what I'm supposed to say. But I think I'm communicating in a way that hopefully people understand. But yeah, and I think in the future, if this trend continues, you will go from 50-50 because we have we have a men's MMA champ and a women's MMA champ. And we're not totally there. We're probably still at like 60-40 or even 70-30 because there's more men's sports and more men's divisions and more men's weight classes in the UFC. But you'll go from whatever it is and it will start to tilt even more towards there are going to be more biological male champions. And I don't personally mind that. I know that a lot of people are worried, but what I look at is not who is the champion pool. I'm looking at there were so many people who were losing anyway, and they were all, like all the biological men, the vast majority were not playing anyway. We're left out and completely. So only the most athletic people stand a chance, and there's dozens of them at the top of any sport. And I don't really care if the market will bear it and the market wants it. I'm cool. The problems that I have are when we start subsidizing professional level sports like the WNBA, which I think needs to have the NBA money removed from it after 20 years and be forced to downsize, stand on its own leg, pay for arena time, pay for commercials, or whatever needs to happen for it to become viable in a market that after 20 years of being subsidized. So yeah, I'm sure that people disagree, but I'm not even that charged up about this one. It just seems easy to me. What do you think? I
just thought it was interesting. I don't have a grand takeaway on how it reflects on society. Just that that the conversation was, this is the high school level, don't sweat it, and now it's the Olympics. It's as high as you get.
Yeah.
So I just think that's interesting.
Was that the conversation? Yeah. I guess the question is, and basically what you're saying is, as a society, is it important? This is basically for because I think that the trans issue can often be so zoomed out that they're like, is it a man? Is it a woman? I'm like, you got to specify. These are just words. These are categories that are meaningless to aliens from a different planet. You got to specify, is this a man or is this a woman in a particular context that is relevant? And does it matter? So do we care that our champions in sports comport to a certain biological group? Do we care that that the losers group of kids at any certain age is going to be dominated by biological females if we start I guess we wouldn't do trans at such a young age, but if you just mixed sports starting from birth, what you would see is that not a lot of young girls were playing at the highest levels. But, and this, I'm not trying to remove girls' sports, I paid for sports my entire life. I had to. My parents had to show up and pay for intramural because I wasn't going to make the publicly funded school team. There was no chance. So, like, you can have sports leagues that are of shrunken skill levels, and that can happen all through your life. You're worried that you're not going to play in college. Don't worry. I played in college, and it wasn't on the sports team. I just had to pay for the gym time, and I had to pay for the ref because nobody wanted to watch me. And I still will do it today, and so that's.
I do think that gets left out of the conversation.
You can play sports forever
if you're not, if you're not on the collegiate team because you get beat out by somebody, that means you don't get to play sports in college. But there's fraternity leagues, sorority leagues, intramural leagues, pickup games depending on the sport. Like there's a lot of ways to participate in sports that aren't funded by the government or your school.
It's kind of weird to ask the community to pay for a sports team that nobody cares about or wants to do, that is segmented to only a segment of a certain segment of society, like men or women, and to go, yeah, we're all going to pay for this, even though nobody but the 14 of you on the team care, but we're all going to chip in. It's just, no, if you want to play, we got tennis courts, rent time on the courts, play, make your own team, make shirts. Nobody's going to come just like nobody comes, and that's fine. And if people are interested and it brings in a ton of revenue for the school and we want to throw in for a giant football stadium because that's going to do it and we all like that, great. We can all chip in and pay for it. But yeah, I like, another thing that I hear is the young girls won't have anyone to look up to. And I go, look, people don't like this, but like young boys don't go to OnlyFans and go, I see myself there one day making the most money as the top creator. Like, and we don't need to correct for that in society. If we don't have a society that, or if women are not competitive in an equal pool against men, then that's okay. They can still play sports. You can still be a male model. You can still go on OnlyFans as a man. You can still do all this kind of stuff. We don't need to artificially insist that we have female athletes that are champions, just like we don't need to insist that there are white, Asian, black, anything. Just set up the rules of the game. If you are a human, I'm prepared to not let gorillas in. I think that's fine, or dogs or anything like that.
That would fuck up the UFC so fast.
That would fuck them all up, yeah. And look, you want to say you're the baddest man on the planet, like, yeah, you're the baddest man, but every chimp would tear you apart. Sure. And this is an artificial thing, and as soon as there's chimp wars that people want to see, we can get those if we deem it ethical. But yeah, I do think that the categories that we have, we can just get confused in the argument. These are arbitrary categories that are placed on, and I think that there's a lot of habit and a lot of knee-jerk reaction to, oh my God, this is going to ruin anything, and my daughter's not going to have anyone to look up to. And I encourage you that your daughter does not need to see a female champion of the world on a Nike thing to love sports, to play sports, to keep it as a massive part of her life for the entirety of her life. In fact, I think that would be healthier than holding someone up that is completely subsidized. That said, the Williams sisters are profitable and should still get to, you know what I mean? Like, if people want to watch them play, then great. They can be champions. I'm not advocating for the removal of categorizations in sports that the market bears. So just to be clear, like, Conor McGregor is the most famous athlete on the planet, even though he keeps getting his ass kicked at 155. And if he ever moved up to 180, he would never, ever, ever win a fight or land a punch or do any damage to his opponent. Mm-hmm. Like, we can create these artificial things where we pretend that you're the greatest if the audience wants to do that. And so if you want to do that with male-female divisions or weight classes or anything, God bless. But only if the audience and the market bear it, not as a subsidized thing, is my, I think, very unique opinion on all of this stuff. What do you think?
No, I thought it was well said.
Okay, great. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.